Right, so 24, we're going to solve systems of equations, also something we use for like the rest of our math lives. We can use any method, right? So any method, like students like, oh, Photoshop, that's a method of solving this. So one way that you could do this, or one way to check these things would be just graphing them. Right. So I recommend Desmos, just if you haven't used Desmos. Desmos is amazing for those students who are going to take the SAT at some point in their lives, like Desmos is on the SAT. So you could literally just graph this and find where they intersect each other. But I'll do it like the other ways as well. Right, so we could say y equals 3x minus 4. That was one of our equations. And we can also say x minus 4y is negative 28. So x minus 4y equals negative 28. So the solution is going to be where those two lines intersect each other if they intersect at all. So the x coordinate is 4, the y coordinate is going to be 8. Notice if I were to plug x in and set it equal to 8, we should get true statements. 8 equals 3 times 4 minus 4. Yes, because 12 minus 4 does in fact give us 8. 4 minus 4 times 8 is negative 28. 4 minus 32 is negative 28, right? So that would work. So graphing is a valid way of solving these things. Now, if you have to show work, there are two main ways of doing these questions, substitution and elimination. I prefer elimination whenever possible, but sometimes substitution is a good way of attacking these. So I'll do them both ways. So I'll actually do them kind of like the easiest way. So in question A, I would use substitution. And the reason I would use substitution is because I already know what y equals in terms of x. Y equals 3x minus 4. So this means that any place that I have a y in that second equation, I could replace it with a 3x minus 4. So we could think of that second equation this way. Instead of having a y, I have a 3x minus 4. The biggest issue that pops up with substitution is that you have to remember to distribute. So I'm going to get x. So minus 4, negative 4 times 3x is going to be minus 12x. Negative 4 times another negative 4 is going to be positive 16. 128. Wow, this thing got aggressively large for a sec. So then I can combine like terms. X minus 12x is negative 11x. I can subtract 16 from both sides. So I'm going to get negative 44. And then dividing both sides by negative 11. Cancel, cancel. We're left with x equals 4. So what we just found is the x coordinate of our solution is equal to 4. The nice thing about substitution is that you'll always have an equation that's just ready to throw an x into. So y equals 3x minus 4, but we now know that x is equal to 4. We just found that it's 4. So we're going to get 3 times 4, which is 12, minus 4. So that's going to equal 8. So y is equal to 8. So x is 4, y is 8, which really means, and this is the important part, 4, 8 is the point of intersection. It's where those two lines hit each other and kind of cross, and then in this situation, never hit each other again. The second equation is kind of made for elimination method. So generally when you have two equations in standard form, elimination tends to be the best way to attack things. The idea behind elimination is that we want to combine our equations. Generally, we want to make them look the same first, right? So I have x's and y's on this side, I have numbers on the other. And then once you have them in the same form, we want to try to make one coefficient the negative of the other coefficient by multiplying or dividing. I'll actually show that on the next question, even though it's a pretty simple substitution question. So in this situation, notice that if you just add these two equations, 2x plus negative 2x, those x's cancel. Negative 3y plus negative 2y is going to be negative 5y. 15 plus 0 is 15. So when you divide both sides by negative 5, we're going to get y equals negative 3. We know our y coordinate. So let's pick any of these two equations. Now let's use the top one. So we know that y is equal to negative 3. So let's plug it in and solve for x. So I'm going to get 2x. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, is 15. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, divide by 2, and get x is equal to 3. So my solution here, x is 3, y is -3, is going to be -3, 3. And then finally, this last one, right? Like I said, it's kind of made for substitution, but I'll kind of do it both ways just so you can kind of get the flavor of elimination. So since y equals this thing, right? Any place I have a y in the other equation, I can place it with a 4x minus 1. So 4x minus 1 is -2x minus 7. So my smaller x is -2, so I'm going to move that over to the right side by adding 2x, add 2x. So we're going to get a 6x over here. Let me get that 1 off of this side. So let's add 1 and add 1. So -7 plus 1 is -6. Divide both sides by 6. I'm going to get x equals -1. Doesn't matter which equation we plug it into. I'll plug it into maybe this top one. Y equals 4 times -1 minus 1. So 4 times -1 is -4, minus another 1 is -5. So that's going to be our point. These two lines intersect each other at -1, -5. That's the only time these two intersect each other. All right, so suppose we had a little bit of a different form in this question. Right, so this would be how you would maybe solve using elimination, just in case. So I'm going to move this 4x over to the other side, right? So -4x plus y is -1. And I'm going to add this x over to the other side. 2x plus y equals -7. So this would be the exact same equation, just not written in slope-intercept form. So suppose we were given the question like this. So if I wanted to eliminate a value, maybe I look at this -4 and this 2, and I say, well, what's the least common multiple of 2 and 4? Well, it's 4. It's the same number, right? 2 and 4 both go into 4. So to turn this 2 into a 4, I'd have to multiply by 2. But I can't just multiply one thing by 2. I have to multiply everything by 2. So if we multiply our entire bottom equation by 2, we're going to get 4x plus 2y is -14. Now that I have a positive and a -4x, when I add them together, they just go away. So y plus 2y is 3y. -1 plus -14 is -15. Then when we divide by 3, we get the same y is equal to -5 that way. So being well-versed in many ways to solve equations will, again, give us a lot of different methods for solving stuff in geometry and algebra and the rest of your math life.